Hey everybody, welcome to Monday Night Live in Lexington. My name is Kathryn Kauffman and I'm psychic medium here in Lexington, Kentucky. Everybody, welcome to the show. Happy Monday night. Special shout out to Lana Lorraine, Sandra Buchanan, and a big shout out to Melissa Begley and her sidekick Miss Cleo. Magical Monday indeed. And hey to all you guys over here on Instagram. Awesome to see you. And special shout out to everybody on the podcast. There's like 6 or 7 sites that listen to the podcast, and it's being recorded right now too. So, hope you guys are have had a good weekend and plenty of rest, and maybe your Monday wasn't all so bad. Happy Monday to Dana Fleener. Good to see you. The red looks fantastic. Thank you very much. Okay, so for all the red lipstick fans, I try to keep track of what I have on. It's kind of gotten out of control a little bit. This is a really nice kind of orange red. And I don't wear orange red that often. I love blue red, but this is Barnyard Balm, and they only have one red, and that's it. And it's real moisturizing and very comfortable. I can't say that it wears all that well, but I can't stand anything really dry on my lips. So, we're going to go into dowsing tonight. Hey, to tell you more. And I'm going to try to keep up with the chat. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. I'm looking down at the chat box and I'm watching for questions. I'm going to try to cover all this within 30 minutes. Well, I don't know. We may have to do another show on it or a part two. Who knows? This and the reason why I wanted to do this show is because I've had a lot of clients lately who need to use this technique, and it's spring, so a lot of people are looking for, new career stuff and new home stuff, and this is such a helpful thing to know. Um, and, a lot of times I don't have enough time in the session to explain it completely. And so I was thinking, better do a show on it. And that way I can give them the video link and that they can have the detailed version of this. So, why would we want to dowse for a new job or a new home? When you are dowsing, you are connecting with your own subconscious, and your subconscious is connected to the quantum field, okay? And everything that's known is within the quantum field. And so there are things within the quantum field that your conscious mind isn't aware of, but your subconscious is. So when you dowse, it's just another tool to use to connect with your subconscious so that you can make the best decisions possible. Now, some people say that they are connecting with another spirit or their spirit guide, and that may be, but the way that you're supposed to dowse is to connect with the subconscious field. Okay, now let's take a really quick look at the history of dowsing. The earliest accounts of dowsing can be traced back to Germany in the 1500s. German miners actually used this technology to dowse for all kinds of metallic ores. And so they are the ones that started using the forked twigs to dowse for veins of gold, copper, and iron. There were schools set up to train dowsers and award them with diplomas, actually, on their accomplishments, which is pretty neat to know. Miners in England during Elizabeth I's reign used dowsing to locate zinc and lead. So at first it was widely used to divine minerals. And then later on, it was more commonly used for water sources. And you're going to find if you choose to look back in history, were a lot of manuals that were published in the 1600s that stated that a person should hold the rods with an indifference or inattention to the reasoning about it. And so what they're inferring to is that different mindset where you're connecting with the subconscious, where you are emptying your mind, sort of in a meditative state. Okay, so this did lead to the discovery of the subconscious being connected to the art of dowsing. Due to the inability of the scientific community at that time to explain how dowsing worked, it kind of lost its popularity in the 1800s. But we still have people who divine for water sources now. And so water dowsers continue to be utilized throughout the United States and world due to the high accuracy with which the water well dowsers achieved the results. And I have a little story to tell about that, because when my parents bought a farm after we came back from Midway Island, I think they contacted somebody from a surveying company, and they came out and drilled at least 6 holes in different areas that were dry. They were trying to have a well on the property, and all 6 sites were they were no go. There was no water, and so my mom and dad went down to the local store and asked some people down there, did they know a water dowser? And sure enough, they did. And they contacted the person. This man came out with a peach tree limb and divined for a water source, and they hit water the first time. So, personal attestament to the efficacy of dowsing. Now, dowsing, you can use several different kinds of things. Shout out to Yasmin, and there's my husband on YouTube with good vibes. Thank you. Let's do some shout out here. Hey to Jessica, Sister Jessica, love that you're watching. Thank you so much. Hey to Ina and Tammy Warren Settlemeyer. And also, I know some of you know that my cousin passed away last week, between the last Monday night and this Monday night. And I always did a shout out for her on the show because, Martha, you were and are still my favorite person in the whole world. So there. Okay. Devices used for dowsing. Pendulums. Pendulums are what we're going to go into tonight. And this is one of mine. It's a fluorite pendulum. I don't know if you can see that real well. Now, you can get different types of pendulums, and we're going to kind of look at that too. You can use dowsing rods. You can use a forked branch. You can also use other things to douse with. In the old days, people just used, their wedding band on the end of a string. And some people use those old plumber's ball. So, anything weighted on the end of a string, you can fix up and use in dowsing, because it's not the object that's doing the divining. It's actually your subconscious. And so all you need is a weighted thing to communicate with your subconscious. Now, a lot of people will be under the misconception, and they'll go, oh, I saw your hand move. I saw your hand move. Yes, it is supposed to move, because when you connect with your subconscious will send minute muscle movements down your arm, through your hand, to the pendulum to have it move a certain way so that you get the message. And so what we want to do is we want to know, like, let's say you're looking for a new job or career. Let's say you don't really know what kind of career you want, but you know the basic area that you might want to be in. Say you might want to do entertainment business or corporate business. So you're going to put those options on a big, large piece of paper. Let's say entertainment over here, corporate business here, maybe a couple other options on the top and the bottom. And so you would douse over each section to see which is the best area for me to pursue. And you want to ask things like, is this a good area financially, emotionally, spiritually, and success related for me to pursue? And you may get, let's say you've got 4 options, you may get 2 yeses out of the 4. So then you're going to go back over the ones that indicated yes, and you're going to say between the 2 of these, which is the best area for me to go into financially, successfully, physically, and emotionally. Because you don't want to pick a job that's going to wear you out early. So you have to be aware and say, is this going to be good for me physically? Because some areas that you pick for careers have a lot of time invested in them, and or may require you to work too much that would just wear you out. Hey to Leanne, good to see you, and Sheila. Okay. So when you are first starting to work with your pendulum, you have to determine what is yes and what is no. And so it's really imperative when you're using a pendulum, and this is not an instructional video by any means, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but you have to determine with your pendulum specifically which is yes and which is no. And I will have a how to dowse class put up on my website probably tomorrow or the day after. It's an older class that I've had for a long time, and I'm planning on redoing it. So it's going to be at a big discount because this is all old videos. The videos need redone, and you're going to see on there I still have dark hair on my videos, so they all need to be redone, and maybe the audio crisped up a little bit now that I've got better equipment. But when you first connect with your pendulum, you've got to determine what's yes and what's no. And then you're going to dowse over your different options. Now, let's say, hey to Teresa. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. And hey to Judith. And I'm checking for questions. And there aren't any right now. So we're good. So when you are doing a job or career, so let's say you narrow it down to the area that you're going to look in, and there are different areas that are better for you than others, that kind of go with your energy over others. And that's kind of what I was trying to impress upon people is, and let's just say you're looking for a new home. There are different physical locations that go better with your energy, your personal energy. Your resonant frequency is not going to go well with just any job or any home in any area. There are certain areas that actually are not physically good for you to live in. And your subconscious is going to connect with that, and it's going to know. So if you have a big decision to make between 3 jobs or between 2 jobs, when you make your paper out, just make sure that you put each of the choices all the way on the opposite end of the page before you dowse over it, because you don't want to get an accidental yes or no because it's too close to the other option. So again, just don't forget to put, as you're dowsing over your option, is this the best option for me financially, physically, emotionally, and spiritually? And then you're going to get, these are just yes and no questions. So if you only have 2 jobs to choose from that you have offers, there's not going to be any doubt which one is the best. Now, if let's say you get 2 yeses, because you might have said, is this a good choice? But you have to go back again and say, is this the best choice between these 2? and you should only get one best choice. So the first time around is like a preliminary, like, are these choices any good, yes or no? And then the second go around is narrowing it down to, is this the best choice? Same thing for the home. So what I usually suggest people do is to get a map of the United States. And at first you're going to use your intuition, or what you like best. Like, let's say you're not a cold weather person. You wouldn't want to pick any of the states that are up north. So you would look at southern states and maybe pick out 7 different ones that your intuition says, yes, this might be a good choice. Then you're going to take your pendulum and dowse over each state on the table with your map laying down. And you're going to say again, is this a good area for me energetically, physically, spiritually, emotionally? And you're going to either get a yes or no. Now, usually, if you pick out 7 different states, you might come back with, say, 4 yeses. That's going to narrow it down. So the second round of dowsing is where you dowse over each of the 4 yeses, but this time you're going to say, is this the best area for me energetically, physically, emotionally, and spiritually? Now, when you're dowsing for a home, it's going to be a little bit different, because if you have a family that's going with you, you have to include them in the statement, not just yourself, because you're moving the whole family. So you have to really keep that in mind as you dowse over each state. The second round of dowsing, you should only get one best. Because when you say to your subconscious, which one is the best indicates one choice. So let me do some shout outs. Hey to Carolyn Gillum Driscoll, good to see you. Angela Shields, Sharon Goff Wilson, and my beautiful neighbor, Miss Amber Bentine. And that goes for Angela Shields too, because she's my neighbor too. Okay. Hey to all you guys over here on Instagram. If you have any questions, please let me know. Also, if you're just joining and you missed the first part of the show, you can always rewind and watch the beginning back on Facebook. And this is back to YouTube too. Hey to all my guys on YouTube. And so you can just go to the YouTube channel and watch it there. So I have to be careful of my time here, because when we get past 30 minutes, Anchor shuts off and I lose the last part of the show. So that's not good. But different locations do affect your personal energy. So it's not a matter of just moving to the state that sounds good or that the job sounds good. To really connect with whether or not this is the best option for you personally and your own energy, you really need to try to use dowsing to make sure that there's nothing you're missing or nothing that you should be aware of about the choice. So Amber says, I'm thinking of using dowsing rods for our home. We want to move to good or not. Dowsing rods are a little bit more difficult to use if you're looking at choices on a paper, or if you are trying to determine which state to go to. Now, I tell you, Amber, what they're best for is if you're actually going to look at homes and you're going to assess the property, the dowsing rods or a dowsing limb is actually best for that, because it can show you problematic energies within the home. Show me if, like, you could use your dowsing rods and you quiet your mind and you're connecting with your subconscious, and you're asking the rods to show you, or you're asking your subconscious to show you if there are any hidden problems with the home that you need to be aware of. And so the rods will actually turn and you're going to follow them. Let's say they turn this way and you take 5 steps that way, and you're going to say, okay, which way now? and let's say they turn that way, they will lead you to, things that you wouldn't normally pick up on because, you know, going to find a new house is exciting. And sometimes let's say I get overwhelmed with the kitchen area and then I don't think about picking up on anything back in the plumbing in the bathroom. But if I go in and I quiet my mind and I'm not connecting with anything right off the bat, and I use the rods to say, find what's the best attributes of the home, what are the problem areas I need to be aware of. So what that's going to take is really practicing with your dowsing rods in the home or the space that you're living in before you take them to a location to use them, because you want to be familiar with how they lead you, how many steps you should take before you shake them out and put them out again, and figure out which way to go. And again, you guys, I will try to get that dowsing course up on the website in the next couple of days. If you all want it, it's going to be, like I said, discounted because it's old information, but the basic gist of it is there. You just may have to turn the volume up a little bit because back then I didn't have real good audio equipment. So, hey to Susan. And Amber says, yes, I'm trying to something out of the property to a better, get out of the property to a better one with better energy. Right, because you don't want to swap one problem for another problem. And the dowsing rods, if you're checking out houses and you're going to view them, those dowsing rods can really save you a huge headache. Now, using the tree limbs, that's really best for if you're dowsing for water or you're dowsing for minerals or you're outside. Um, and you probably could use those if you wanted to buy a farm or big property like that. I might use, say, a tree limb to douse outside for something like that. But if you're doing the tabletop stuff, this is the best thing to use, guys, and you can stick it down in your pocket. Now, it's not to say you could use this to do a walkthrough of your houses that you're going to go evaluate, and you can stand in each room and say, are there any hidden things in this room that I need to be aware of? Yes or no? And you're going to get a clear yes or no as you stand in each room. Now, then it's going to be up to you to try to determine, okay, let's see, it said yes. So I need to look at this room really closely and see if I can pick up on what this is talking about. Now, let's go into one other thing before we get done. I wanted to talk about the different gemstones that you can use on the pendulums. I think the best all-purpose one for just about everything is quartz crystal. Quartz holds and conducts the electromagnetic energy, and it's an excellent tool for evaluating property, for answering yes or no questions, for locating the best energy states for you, or parts of the United States or world for that matter, for you to live in. It can answer all kinds of general questions, life questions, spiritual things. It can also be used for divining for metal or water. Also, you can use these to find a lost pet. Find your lost pet. Use this. Hey to Laura Day and Scarlett. Big shout out to Scarlett Peretta over here on Facebook. Good to see you. So, yeah, quartz crystal is one of the best. Now, let's say we're looking for a new job or career. Why not use a citrine pendulum? Because citrine is always used for questions of business and success. But you can also use it for creativity. Let's say that you're an artist and you need a new idea and you've got several ideas, but you don't know which one is going to be the big payoff idea. Put all three of these ideas on that paper and douse with a citrine over each one. And remember, you're going to ask, which one is this idea going to pay off more than $50,000 financially? And is it going to be good for me emotionally and physically? And then go back and do which one is the best, which one's going to pay the most. Is this idea going to pay the most for what I'm doing? And when you say most, have a dollar amount in mind because you need clear communication with your subconscious. Hey to Pat Miley. And Angela says, my pop used branches to find water. Yes, absolutely. Amber, I have a red jasper. What is that used for? It's a real basic kind of grounding and centering, and it would be good to divine for if the home is good for you for grounding, for stability, um, and that kind of thing. Grounding, stability, stabilizing. Red has a really good connotation for vitality and restoration. You know, this property gonna be good for me to be safe and to be grounded and to also restore my vitality at the end of my work days. So that would be something I would definitely ask Amber. Now let's look at black obsidian. I sometimes use black obsidian if I have a negative entity at a home that is not real apparent. Like sometimes negative entities can sort of shield themselves from me and my mind probing to see where they are. But so sometimes I'll use the black obsidian pendulum to dowse to see what is the location of this negative entity at this home. And it never fails to uncover something there. Let's say you have a situation where somebody is doing something wrong to you, and let's say somebody filed a complaint against you, but you can't find out who they are. Well, you might could douse for it and come up with, you know, the source of that. Also, black obsidian is really good to locate old graveyards. And black obsidian can also be used in energy healing to determine whether or not the chakras are moving in the correct direction. But, you know, you can use your clear quartz for that as well. So, this is just a quick look at how dowsing with a pendulum or with dowsing rods or a tree limb can really help you pin down the best place for you to have a new home and also the best possible career choice that lays ahead of you. And so you can make better decisions and be more assured in your decisions after you use it. Practice with it before you make a big decision so that you can be comfortable with the information that you get from it. And with that, I'm going to close because we're a minute over, and I hope that Anchor hasn't shut off yet. But I will see you guys next week, and if you're interested in that old dowsing class, I'll get it put up on the website, and I'll leave the website link in the comments. Just go and check there tomorrow, and let's see if I can get it put up tomorrow. But it'll be super cheap because I'm going to redo everything. But you guys have a fabulous week. Kisses from Kentucky, and I will see you next Monday night. Bye, guys.